I am Todd from GoodCleanFunLife.com.
And I'm Tony Russo, no relation. We got a great show for you tonight. We got drinking, we got whiskey, we got drinking. There's other stuff, I'm sure, but when there's whiskey involved, it doesn't really matter a whole lot. Let's go ahead and get rolling right away, and let's talk about what already happened, the stuff that's already gone on.
Yeah, well, I know for us, whiskey was a big part of our Friday night where we did the kickoff for the Jack Daniel's Presents. This is for the college kids up in the Salisbury area. We were up there just promoting a little bit, we're running our Jack Hotties contest, which, whiskey and drinking and hotties and, I feel like what's his name? Back to school, Rodney Dangerfield. With
Right.
But it's not bad. It's not bad. It was a great event up there at the warehouse, and we're also doing stuff at Specific Gravity, which is a awesome spot, as well as Rody Joe's and Market Street.
I meant to ask, do I know that topless person?
I don't know. It's a he, first of all. Is that the topless person you're referring to?
Yeah, I just thought I'd get everybody's attention by just saying topless person.
The topless redhead? I don't know. Yeah, he's bartender at the warehouse, and he is, I think, getting ready to go in the special forces or something along those lines. So he was a character, having a good time for sure.
Oh, I was trying to get the photo of him up large, but I didn't find the large photo. But we can screen share this if you'd like.
Yeah, do it.
So we can get, this is my Facebook feed, or this is you on my Facebook feed. It caught my eye only because he's just clearly having so much fun, and not in a lascivious way. I mean, there are women there, and there is booze there, and there is toplessness, but it's his. But he's just genuinely having a good time, and that's what I love about that photo. I probably would have loved about the event if I had gone, but I didn't.
What's fun about the whole step and repeat that we had set up there is, like that guy, he was working, but as soon as he saw that, he already had that idea brewing in his head of what he was gonna do. And
right.
I mean, if you go over to the website goodcleanfunlife.com and check out the post, there's a bunch of photos from that event there. A lot of people like you said, just having a good time, and that's definitely what it is meant to be about, and it was on Friday for certain.
I'm going to go through the photos if you don't mind for just a second, because I keep seeing more and more things I like. I love the idea of people who are having a night out and just are going to take over the whole shot.
Yeah, yeah, right.
They're like, yeah, we don't want the girls. We'll have the whiskey if we must, but we want our picture taken in front of this Jack Honey thing. And then the bros there. You gotta love a photo with bros in general.
Yeah.
And then this is one of the Jack Honey's reps. Now, how does that work? Do they come up to you? Do you have to find them, or do they find you, or what's that all about?
Well, it's funny. It crosses over a little bit. That right there, pictured with me, is a friend of ours, actually, Annie, and she does promos like this, and is actually through a company called Brand Builders. So
Wow.
just like we're kind of contracted by the distributor to put the social media, multimedia aspect behind it, they come out to do a buy. So that they were out there giving away samples of honey with ginger, and and just looking generally nice. So.
I wanted to talk to you about the other thing that was going on. Now that you said that, I figured I'd share something with you. I don't think I can show it yet because it's not really up yet. But this week in book news, I got my Amazon page.
Oh,
so
wait.
You can pre-order my book on Amazon.
Wait, did you write a book?
I wrote a book. I don't know if I mentioned this yet or not. But and I don't want to undercut my publisher, but you save $4 if you buy it on Amazon. I don't know if that's just the early order price or not. But it's pretty cool that I have an author's page, and I'm going to post that up in a blog about how surreal this whole thing has been. Because what's really cool about it is there is an events calendar on that, like, an author's speaking events. I have 2 events.
Yeah. So you're already populated with events.
Yeah, I got to put some events in, and I had to put on my blog, and this is kind of a weird thing, and I want to talk about this social media wise. I knew I had something I wanted to talk about. Now I can remember. There's no not tacky way to put the Amazon, or there are very few non-tacky ways to put the Amazon ad
logo
box on your blog, but that is, I mean, it's my book. I have to put it up there. I don't see where I have much of a choice.
Right.
And so it felt really kind of hacky, and I was wondering, I mean, because you guys run sponsorships, but you don't run ads, right, on Good Clean Fun Life?
We don't, and a lot of the ad generators now are like the automatic ones, the Google Ads stuff, and as much as I love Google, we've avoided those where, if you're searching for Beer on the Eastern Shore books, that no matter what page that you click to that has a Google Ads generator,
right,
it pulls up. It's a little bit too not Mission Impossible, but what was the movie with Tom Cruise where they had
Minority Report?
It's a little too Minority Report for me. And actually news this week that Facebook is going to be doing that even more prolifically somehow. No matter what device you're on, they're going to know what you've searched, and they're going to be placing ads in your feed accordingly.
Good. I hope that they're ads about beer books. It's kind of weird because I write about weird things, and I do odd stories, and I don't mean like news of the odd. I mean like I when I'm writing for the Metropolitan. So like one day I'll be searching for facts about, like, I don't know, orthopedic shoes. Right. So then I was like all orthopedic shoes all the time, and then I did a colonoscopy one, and it was one about colon health for 6 weeks, and I really love that about about my internet experience, in that since I'm doing research, they can't really pin me down. Like Kelly is the one who buys stuff. I do research on both orthopedic shoes and colonoscopies. So Google thinks I'm 74 years old,
You probably take distinct pleasure in tricking Google into not understanding what you're really looking to purchase. It's
really a pleasure. And actually, I was telling you before we came on the air, I've been installing fans in my house, and we did buy fans on my computer, and we bought like $1,100 worth of fans. Fans are fucking expensive. I didn't know if you knew this or not.
They are.
But we have one fan for every room of the house. And it got expensive, and now I can't go anywhere. I mean, I feel like Google's going to come knock on my door and say, "So, did you get those fans? Where are we in the fan department here?"
You know what has happened to me recently, and this is a similar but different problem. I manage a couple different YouTube pages for a couple different businesses. And when you're going through your social media feed and you click on a link that looks interesting to you, and a lot of times I like to watch it full screen. So you go in the full screen and it opens up the YouTube page. Well, if I'm signed into this, for whatever reason, I'll be signed into the Starbird, and whenever some news breaks about Star Wars, which I'm a total nerd over, that's the one that I will end up clicking on, making larger, and then watching on the Starbird channel. So if you go to the Starbird channel as an administrator, YouTube is like, oh hey, this Jedi Gray 9 wants to send you this video.
That's great.
So I've kind of screwed I've screwed the Starbird out of that a little bit.
Excellent. I'm sorry, I got confused. There was the dogs were barking, cats were screaming. I've not been to sleep yet today, or the dogs woke me up at 1:30, and it was one of those times where like I opened my eyes and I'm like, uh-oh, this is it, I'm up. And so I've been up since about 1:30. I'm a little punchy. So I took them for an early morning walk, and I do an off-leash walk. And there was a kid, I guess he's training for football or whatever. And the dog started chasing him, and he was terribly afraid of this dog. And when I play with the dog, when we wrestle, I do like the football thing where I go left, left, and right, right, like moving my arms. Oh, you can see me. You can moving my arms back and forth like a defender, more like a basketball defender really than a football defender. And so this kid was running away from the dog like that. He was like running in a circle, and he was screaming like a little girl. He's going, ah, ah, and I'm like, Pepper, Pepper, ah, ah. It is 5 o'clock in the morning. The dog is barking. The kid is screaming at the top of his lungs like a little girl, and I'm screaming Pepper, Pepper, Pepper. So maybe they won't be inviting me to play cornhole anytime this week. I grouched up everyone this morning.
But it also sounds like you had a little bit of a rough weekend that you're maybe not have recovered from.
And that's what I was getting to. I overdid it this weekend. We went to the Italian festival in Wildwood. Actually, we went to Wildwood, hung out with my brothers, several of them, 3 of them made it, and my cousins, 2 of them made it, and their wives, and it was a really, really nice grown-up time. There were no children. I don't know the last time you went on an adult vacation with other adults without children.
It's been quite a while. We do a good job of having plenty of adult time, but a vacation, no.
But adult time, no children. No one is going to ask you for anything. You know what? It was just wonderful. And I wasn't sober for maybe 20 minutes. I mean, we would get up and have beers to settle our stomach, and then have a couple Bloody Marys, and then go for a long bike ride, and then go in the ocean, and then come home and just start drinking and drinking and drinking. And the reason I wanted to talk about this is there are 2 things I wanted to talk about. The first I wanted to talk about is they had cannoli and they had all sorts of really good sweet stuff, but I didn't really have any because I couldn't find espresso. And then I saw what I thought was an espresso machine, and when I got up closer,
Chipotle mayo?
Yes. It's just like a mama used to make.
So no luck on the espresso, but you got a little zip in your
right, and not only no luck on the espresso, but the really vaguely nauseating idea of having a small cup filled with Chipotle mayonnaise. And the other thing that we did was I bought this bourbon. Now, it says small batch bourbon on it, and somebody was like, I'm like, let's try something new, and I swear to God, because I got to tell the story about how I knew people on the inside, somebody's like, just get some Jack Daniels. Don't be. And I'm like, no, this is fine. So I sent my brother a text message with this photo, and this is Duke bourbon. It wasn't inexpensive.
Oh.
It was like $35, but the
is that a real John Wayne signature on there?
Who knows? Probably they put his formaldehyde in it, so probably they got a signature while they were down there. And that was a problem. I mean, Woodford Reserve, which isn't bad, was $37. So this was $3 cheaper, but I wasn't being cheap. I spent a fortune on booze this weekend. But I just wanted to try something new, and it was such rot gut.
Yeah.
And which gets me to the small batches are fine as long as you age them. I mean, small batches of moonshine, for example, are not what a person wants to drink. I did have the pleasure of they do have now a home brewing for whiskey, which I very well may try. It's against, as we all know, it's against a lot of distill your own whiskey, but it's not against a lot of buy Everclear. And what this is it's a regular barrel. You put in Everclear, 6 months later, you get out whiskey.
Wow.
Because it's a charred bourbon barrel. It's charred wood barrels, and that's what they're for.
So you buy your own barrel, or you buy their barrel, and
you buy their barrel, you buy your own Everclear. I mean, you can make your own barrel if you know how to do these kind of things. I don't.
Yeah.
But you can buy.
I mean, that sounds interesting. Maybe perhaps we could work that into a potential thing that we have coming up at Liquid Assets this winter with Whiskey Wednesdays. So they're talking to us about helping promote this idea, this concept that they have. Getting started probably later in October. But it seems to dovetail nicely more along the lines of the Gentlemen's Club that we had done previous, as opposed to the Jack Hotties, but it will probably be some of the same carryover.
That would be cool. I might participate. I might be more likely to participate in a Whiskey Wednesday, for instance, than in a gentleman's club. Just because Friday nights are just hellish here. Um,
Well, the interesting thing is, and where you and I might have a little bit of a leg up in this, they're actually talking about trying to Skype in with some distillers. So they want 15 to 20 people and actually do a little presentation of some nice whiskey. Because that's a big thing right now. All the hipsters, as John Trader says, are in Berlin are doing the whiskey. So. Maybe we have a hangout on air with some distillers and maybe even some people, all over the world.
well, I'm looking into I'm trying to upgrade my camera. I don't know if I'm going to get there by the time this is ready. But in the very near future, we're probably going to upgrade the camera. We want to start doing I would like to start doing some more live events from the from Extreme Brewing for the other podcasts, because they do these Q&As, and they do recipe development and things like that, where a lot of people would really like to participate even though they can't make it out there. And so as we get better at this project, now I can not hang up on people, which is awesome. Which is an awesome first step.
Or call them in the first place and
Right.
That would be cool. I've looked at a lot, and that's something that we'll do eventually. But are you talking about getting a switcher so you can have a front-facing camera, or a couple different angles or something along that?
No, I'll probably just get one single shot camera. I may eventually get a second one, so that I can have two angles. But I don't want to run before I can walk. So. Like I said, now that I've learned not to hang up on people, step number 2 is get a. It's not going to be a great camera, but it's not going to be a piece of crap. My computer, I run this off my laptop, and my computer heats up a lot over the course of 45 minutes. If we get to an hour, it gets pretty hot, so I don't want to overburden it and then fry it. So yeah, those are my concerns.
I'm using the Mac camera now, which is probably pretty comparable, but you can get a cheap, $100 a high definition Microsoft one or a Logitech or whatever that are pretty decent.
Well, that's funny. That's what we were talking about, because Doug was very excited about the idea when I pitched it to him, and he's like, "Well, I'll split it with you." And I said, "I don't know what one I want." He's like, "Well, how much are they?" I'm like, "Well, they're anywhere between $50 and $1,200."
Yeah.
Like, oh, all right. And then I don't think he believed me, because I think he was going to go on and get one, and then he did the same thing I did. He went on and he started looking around. He's like, "Okay, I'm not ready to talk about this now. It's
too much."
That's too much. And so you also had just to tap back in on the Kickstarter, the can starter, the kick the can.
Yeah.
You're good. You're done.
Well, we're not done, but we've met our goal with 20 some days. Well, I think we met our goal on Saturday during the Rad Beer Fest, which was pretty fun, because the guy who put us over the top was actually there, and he did it with a big denomination, which was cool. And he was one of the and there were probably other people who were doing the same thing. He was just kind of watching and wanted to be the person to put it over the edge.
Right.
And I think he came close enough and decided to pony up, a big number to be the one who pushed it over. So actually, for all of the Kickstarter backers, we have 350 now. They all got the update, and it was just a simple update, but it was a picture of Brian at the beer fest with this guy Al, who's the one who. But as we said from the beginning or early on with early momentum, that we want to keep going and we want to continue to raise money, because it's already allocated. Anything over and above is allocated for actual cans, to be able to get the cans printed, delivered, ready to go, and which will just get beer out in people's hands and out in the package stores all that sooner. Oh, look at you! That was good.
Yeah, I went and I grabbed it. This is Al.
Yep. I think that's yeah. I think Al is his name, and it was fun because it was a beautiful day. We were all kind of bouncing around, having a good time. Some really good beers there, and Natalie gets the message, and it comes to her phone, and like simultaneous, it comes to Nikki's phone. So they're like running across the parking lot. They meet, and we were like, we got to do something. So we put that out there right away once we had heard. So we have the money now. The scary thing is people can still we have to run the duration. People can still cancel their pledge, which is
I see.
Which is kind of nerve-wracking for me. But we're not going to push it quite as much. We want to let people know that it's still going on. But it looks pretty good right now.
Awesome. And the other thing that I wanted to talk about just quickly is at the Radical Beer Festival, what were some of the highlights? What were some of your favorites? What were some of the beers?
There was a Brojito, which was a play on the sour trip, which was similar to their margarita that they had done earlier with like a little bit of pepper and something and agave or something like that. And then there was they had a Pale Rider and a Rude Boy. The Rude Boy had like maple syrup in it, and the Pale Rider had chipotle. Well, taking the two of those and mixing them was pretty, for me, that was pretty much the drink of the day.
Wow.
So it was, you had a lot of sweetness up front with that, and then the pepper on the back end, and you could feel it in the back of your throat and that sort of thing. And it was really interesting because I was actually talking to this girl who was there who's like, oh, this is great, but I was born without a sense of smell. So I was like,
wow.
Yeah, I was like,
salt?
So this is all just like feeling. I'm like, do you feel the heat? And I was just kind of fascinated by it. Obviously, she's losing a lot of the the flavonoids without the olfactory. But I don't know. It was kind of. I was trying to
that's very
pick
cool.
her brain.
Or odd, I guess. It was very radical, I guess.
Yes.
And so last but not least, before we get ready to close it all down, to begin the beginning of the end, we have coming up the Good Beer Festival at Pemberton Park in Salisbury. And as I mentioned, did I mention it on the air that my book's for sale?
I just once or twice.
All right, I didn't know. That's why I'm just checking in. But I'll be there, and I'll be doing some filming. And this is certainly not stepping on your toes in any way, shape, or form. It's just that they knew me, so they asked me. They knew that I knew that there was such a thing as video cameras. But so I'll be there, and I'll be shooting much of the day. I'll be doing. I'll be using all the things I learned from you and all the things I learned as a reporter. So it'll be a little bit of both. It'll be mostly me saying, hey, say I'm having a good time. I'm having a good time. Hey, hey.
Yeah.
But what'll be fun is that they're doing a speaker series where the brewers are going to come and speak every 15 minutes for 15 minutes about their beers. So they'll have, as I understand it, Brian and Tom and Lori from Third Wave, either JT or Chris Brohan, JT Merriweather or Chris Brohan from Real Revival. I do not know if Ace is going to be there from Eastern Shore Brewing, and Vince Wright from Fin City. I believe those are the main guys. I don't know who else is speaking, but it'll be cool. So we're going to get that online, and people. What we're toying with is the idea of trying to live stream it so that if people want to call in with questions and concerns, we'd be happy to do that. I don't know if that's even going to be possible. Frankly, I can't run the camera because I have a Mac. I can't run that camera through my Mac. I don't know if this camera would be worth even messing around with, but it's something we've considered because they do get internet out there. The county does. So,
what I think is great about that is, just like this Whiskey Wednesday, just on the social media tip, I feel pretty strongly that this is the way things are going to be going, and hopefully when we're doing this a year from now, we have far and away better technology and skill, and people are getting used to it. If they're talking about it, doing it for the Good Beer Festival, if John Trader is talking about doing it for Whiskey Wednesday, this is just something that we are going to be taken advantage of.
Yeah, but we had to look at the job because we were too far ahead of the curve on podcasting. And so by the time people knew what podcasts were, they'd already forgotten about us. They'd be like, "What's a podcast? What's a podcast?"
You know, it's interesting. Do you know what the biggest market right now for live streamed events, that are like well produced but independent of like traditional broadcast, and that sort of thing, are the mega churches.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's like, so we could maybe have a little side business where we could go in and we could broadcast some church services.
Yes. Well, they would be like macro churches or micro churches or something. Yeah. Certainly not mega churches. I think we have one largish church here. We're mostly broken up into little small churches. But I didn't want to just plug my book, although I do want to plug my book. I wrote a book. It'll be out November 11th.
And for the record, I want to pay full price for it. I want the distributor, the publisher, and the author to get as much money as they can get.
Well, I'll tell you what. Then seriously, if you're because this is actually kind of what I'm thinking. Either buy it from Brian if he buys any, or buy it from Stephanie, who I believe is also committed to carry some some Eastern Shore beer books. And I'll probably do something with Stephanie. But there'll be a pre-order form and all that stuff for anybody who comes out. But also there will be this access to brewers that it's going to be kind of an unprecedented thing. Andy Kitzrow, who maybe we could have on the show next Tuesday. I'll see if he's going to be available. He doesn't brew at all. He's kind of like me, huge craft beer fan, not a craft beer brewer.
Right.
And just he works for the county. He's been running the event for the county for the last 3 years, and he wants to push local beer because people are coming from locals come, but people come from out of town for this, and so there are two things that they're doing to press local beer that have never been done before. The first one is they're setting up a local beer garden where instead of being spread out all over the place, all of the local breweries are going to be on one central tent. So you know which beer is from here and which beer isn't from here. Mm-hmm. And as I understand it, they've gotten the brewers to commit to either being there or having brewery employees pouring. So it's not just volunteers; it's people who can talk about the beers. And the idea, and you got to give them credit. The idea is to give the local beers a bit of a leg up on the out of town beers who are just going to have docents pouring. Right. We're like, I don't know, this is beer, it's yellow, enjoy.
Yeah.
So they want the brewers to have an opportunity to talk about their beers, and they want them to be showcased in such a way that it's getting people excited about local beer.
Yep, that makes good sense. Rising tide of rises all ships for like the area type.
Absolutely, and then the second part, which is what I'm involved in, is the home brewing scene and promoting home brewing. They have a big home brewing contest that takes place that day. Over the course of the weekend, it takes place in the back there. I don't know if you recall. There's a little house in Pemberton, and it's in the back left-hand corner near stage 2. Is how I would put it. And so it's got different rules. People, for instance, if you want to try Mispelian Brewing, which is in Delaware, but doesn't distribute in Maryland, so it doesn't have a Maryland license, they're going to be serving actually in the homebrew tent, which is an opportunity for local people to try that beer, and for local people to find out about how to get involved with homebrewing, and all of those things. So it's something definitely worth checking out. It's worth the price of admission. It's a bargain at twice the price.
Yeah.
So so make sure you get your tickets, and you can get them at goodbeerfestival.com, I believe.
Very good. Very good.
And what do you have coming up in the coming weeks? Do you have anything?
Well, yeah, I mean, just like with as I've mentioned before, we're just as busy as we are in the summer. Just everything seems to be compressed into the weekends. This weekend we're going to be up at the Starboard again for a great event that they have. Dewey Goes Pink. So, kicking off October, breast cancer awareness, they do a 5K and barbecue and that whole bit. All of the Starboard alum and patrons come out dressed in all pink, and they have a big party, and they raise a lot of money. So that's going to be on Saturday, and then actually Sunday, the Historic St. Martin's is going to have a great little event. It's going to be oysters and Paul Cullen and Brian Russo, no relation, and some Burley Oak beer. So that will be Sunday out there at Historic St. Martin's. So that will be fun as well.
Very cool. And sometimes Berlin does the pink sashes on the street corners. Do you know if that's on the agenda?
I don't know. Natalie's actually at the merchant meeting and chamber meeting right now, so I'll report on that.
As we speak, yeah. That's usually a chamber thing. I didn't want to put her on the spot, but if she's not there, then that means that she's planning it as we speak. And she was just in town meeting with the Salisbury Chamber. Did I make that up?
Meeting with the Salisbury Chamber, no. She was she's president-elect for the Berlin Chamber, and I guess there's been some discussion, not initiated by her, but talking about joining alongside of either Ocean City and or Ocean Pines as chambers go. So.
As like a single chamber. No, actually, you know what it was? I was speaking with Mindy Burgoyne, who runs the Ghost Tours there, and she was talking about how excited she was for Natalie to be taking over. We were talking about it in Salisbury, so.
Oh. I got you.
Something like that. So good luck to her. Very, very exciting. Yeah. And we'll talk about this off air because. We had some stuff. We were the topic of conversation, so I figured I'd bring you up to date. So and maybe we'll talk about it on the air next week. But for now, I got nothing else. How about you?
Yeah, I got nothing.
All right. Well, may Todd give you the sense to live in a small town.
We'll see you next week at Happy Hour.
Cheers.